Well, hello, everybody. Welcome back to Contractor Truth. I am John, the Contractor Growth Guy, and as always, I want to express how genuinely grateful I am that you've chosen to spend a little bit of your day with me. You may be listening, driving from your truck, driving to a job site, eating lunch, organizing the shop, or pretending to work while you secretly listen to podcasts. Whatever the case, I appreciate you being here. And I want to start today's episode perhaps a little bit differently. I'm in a kind of a reflective mood lately, I guess. So, over the last few months, this podcast has become something I never really expected it to become. Now, to be honest, I don't know what I expected, I guess. When I first sat down in front of the microphone, I honestly had no idea whether anybody would listen to me at all. I didn't know if contractors wanted this kind of content. I mean, I know I did, but I thought, well, maybe I'm alone in that. So I didn't know if anybody wanted to hear an ordinary guy talk about sales and leadership and communication, business growth, all the lessons I've learned, many of them, most of them the hard way. But here we are, and the audience keeps growing every week. The positive messages keep coming, and so I'm going to keep going. The emails, the comments, the reviews, the conversations I have at trade shows, the direct messages on Instagram, they've honestly been overwhelming in the best possible way. I mean it. And I've had conversations with many of you in the audience, and I always enjoy those, no matter the outcome, no matter how that relationship goes in the end. I love it. I love every opportunity to talk to you. Some of you have told me since we've been working together that you've doubled your close rate. Some of you have, after years and years and years of not having had the confidence to do it, you've raised your prices after years of undercharging. Some of you have hired your first employee or your second employee, and your businesses are growing, and others have repaired customer relationships, improved your communication with your team, or simply found renewed excitement for running your business again. And that is really, really important. Believe me, I know that all too well. I want to tell you something. Whatever your story is, these stories mean more to me than you will probably ever know. I can guarantee it. I read as many of your messages. I think I read them all. But as many as I possibly can, and every single one reminds me why I started doing this. It's about the people. This is about a community. I didn't I didn't merely want another social media account. Not because I thought the world needed another podcast, or I just wanted to be famous and have followers. I can honestly say, and I have this conversation with my wife and my family often, I started this because I have a genuine heart for people in our world of contracting. And when I say contracting, by the way, some of you that think maybe I'm just talking about general contractors, no, I mean if you're in HVAC or if you're pressure washing houses, I have people in my audience that work on cars, fee for service, to anything like that I consider to be contractor world. I just believe there are incredible tradespeople in our community and who haven't yet joined our community who should be far more successful than they are. I believe they're honest business owners working 60 and 70 hours a week who deserve to earn a better living, have a better work-life balance, enjoy their families more, their marriages be stronger, and I also believe, because family is very important to me if you know anything about me, I believe one of the biggest things I can help with here is making families stronger by making businesses better. So, you know what? If these conversations can help move the needle in those areas even a little bit, then every hour I spend behind this microphone, either recording videos for our YouTube channel or reels for social media or this podcast, or just speaking to each one of you individually on Zoom calls, listen, it's all been worth it. So I also want to say a thank you Thank you for sharing episodes with your friends and colleagues and so on. Thank you for your kind words, your reviews, even your constructive criticism. And really, seriously, thank you for recommending the podcast to your friends. And thank you for trusting me to be part of your journey. I honestly consider it to be a privilege. Now, something I've been thinking about lately too, I called this, it's always hard to know what to name something, especially when you don't know where it's going to go. So you name it with purpose, and I very much believe that. Even the way my wife and I named our kids was very purposeful. It wasn't just we liked the ring to it; we had purpose to it. I called this podcast "Contractor Truth," and don't tell my wife, but contractors will always kind of be my first love, and that's where my background is, that's where my experience is, and quite honestly, I think contractors are some of the hardest working people on the planet. But the principles that we talk about here are really business principles, okay? Communication and leadership, trust, sales, customer service, systems, discipline. Those things don't just apply to roofing companies or to plumbers or electricians or painters. They apply to every single entrepreneur. They apply to every small business owner or medium-sized business owner. When someone owns a landscaping company or a bakery or a marketing agency or a detailing business, even a real estate office, or maybe you work in professional services, the principles they're universal. People buy from people they trust. People want clear communication. People appreciate professionalism. People value honesty. Those truths don't change just because technology changes or just because the industry changes. So today I'm asking you for a favor, and I don't do this too often. I don't think I do anyway. If these episodes, if this podcast has helped you in any way, share this podcast with business owners that you know. Send it to another small business owner. Maybe they're not a contractor. Okay, maybe they operate a retail store, in a downtown core somewhere. Maybe they run a restaurant. Maybe they're building an online business. Maybe they're just getting started. Okay, if they're trying to serve their customers better, grow their businesses, become better leaders, I can tell you that there's every chance they're going to find something valuable here too, just as you have. And what I want more than anything else is to see this community continue to grow. Not because my hands are full as it is. Don't get me wrong. I appreciate every appointment, every discovery call, every coaching call. I appreciate it all, but I'm busy. But bigger communities create bigger impact, and that's what I want. I want to impact more lives, more families, more marriages, more business owners. The more good business owners we can help here together, the better businesses we'll all have, the better employers we'll have, better customer experiences people will have. And honestly, I think the world could use a lot more of that. We live in an interesting time. Like, sometimes it feels like hard work is almost gone out of style. Discipline is almost a four-letter word. It's not celebrated the way it used to be. I don't know if that's generational. If it is, by the way, if I ever say that, I do not blame the younger generation. I blame us who have raised the younger generation to be a certain way. That's on us. That's our fault. Okay, so stop. If you're 50 years old like I am, stop blaming the younger generation. We raised them. Look in the mirror. Okay, anyway, but I digress. Keeping your word somehow become, it's strange to say, but it's become a competitive advantage. Like, showing up on time is almost considered exceptional these days. I tell my kids all the time, I don't think there's ever been a time in history where the bar has been as low as it is right now. There's this growing mindset that everyone wants success, but fewer people than ever seem willing to pay the price that it demands. And that's one of the reasons I love talking to contractors and small business owners, because you're different than that, okay? You cut through that. You recognize that the old principles of honesty and hard work and all those things, they still work, okay? And this is why I love talking to you guys. Despite all the negativity here online, I spend my days talking with people who get up before the sun comes up, and they stay up long after it goes down. They work outside when it's 35 degrees in July and minus 15 in January. They wear 13 hats every single day, carry enormous responsibility. They sign the front of paychecks, not the back, okay? They take risks. They build things. They build things and they build businesses. They solve problems. You create jobs. That's a great one. You're providing for your families. You're contributing to your local and national economies. You're quietly making our communities better every single day just by earning a living the way you do. And small business owners really are the backbone, not just of our economy, but our communities. And sometimes I wonder if they're becoming one of the last great reminders that hard work still matters, that diligence still matters, that integrity still matters, that keeping your word still matters. And listen, I am thoroughly proud to be part of a community like this. I'm proud to know so many of you. I'm proud to call many of you my friends now, and I'm excited to continue building this together. Now, today's topic, that long porch that I built there, today's topic is communication. Okay? Before you think, great, another episode about answering the phone and sending text messages, now just stick with me, okay? Because this goes far beyond that. Communication isn't just one of the most important skills you'll ever develop. It's one of the most important life skills you'll ever develop. It's not just a business skill. It affects every relationship that you have, your customers, your employees, your suppliers, your business partners, even your spouse, your children, your friends, church community, whatever you're involved in life, okay? And listen, I know communication matters because I've been married for 27 years, coming up in September, and I learned this because, things like, I thought I told you, and I was sure you knew what I meant. Apparently those aren't effective communication strategies. Who knew? I don't know. The truth is every relationship rises or falls on communication. And the same is true of your business. Now, I've said for years that contractors don't have nearly as many workmanship problems as they have communication problems. In fact, I'd argue that many bad online reviews and frustrated customers and lost sales, unnecessary conflicts, they have very little to do with the quality of the finished work or the product that you're selling. They happen because somewhere along the line, communication broke down. So today, I'm going to share with you in this episode 5 communication principles that can immediately improve your customer experience. And that's what we're all about here, okay? I want you to have actionable things that you can do when this podcast is over, that you can earn more trust starting immediately. You can reduce misunderstandings starting immediately, create happier customers right away, and ultimately over the years that are coming, build a stronger business. So let's jump in. Before we do that though, before we jump into today's topic, I do want to take a minute to talk about something that has absolutely transformed the way I work over the last year or two. Now, it is the subject of AI, artificial intelligence. Now, please don't switch this off. Don't tune me out. Okay, this is actually something actionable too. Okay, just in case you think it's for 20-year-olds. I know a lot of you are using ChatGPT and Gemini and Copilot and so on, whatever chatbots you have. I understand many of you are already. So I want to encourage you in that, and some of you that think, oh, that's for 20-year-olds living in their parents' basement writing computer code. No, it's not actually. Okay, I believe that a year from now or 2 years from now, there'll be two kinds of business owners. There'll be those who learn how to use AI as an effective tool to create and increase efficiency in their business, and then there will be those who wish they had. Now, notice the word I used. It's a tool. AI does not replace people. It can replace tasks. It doesn't replace hard work. I use it every day. I work hard. It doesn't replace wisdom and discernment and good judgment. You cannot accept everything it says as wise and good judgment, okay? It certainly doesn't replace experience, okay? It absolutely does not replace integrity. It certainly doesn't replace relationships, but it can make good business owners dramatically more productive and more efficient. Listen, I use it every single day, not because I'm trying to avoid work. I'm trying to get more done in the day. It's quite the opposite. It helps me to do more meaningful work, all right? So think about it this way. When the cordless drills first came out, nobody accused contractors of cheating because they weren't using a hand screwdriver anymore, okay? When laser levels came along, nobody said, hey, real contractors still use string lines. Like, maybe they did, but that was retarded, okay? We know that now. Technology has always created better tools. And AI, the way we use it, now I'm not getting into the moral issues of AI down the road. I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about the nefarious use of AI that you know, evil governments could use against their people to curtail rights and freedom. I'm not getting into all of that. I'm talking about it as a tool. Look, any tool can be turned into a weapon. I don't need to go into that with you. I'm not having a moral argument here. I'm talking about the use of AI in business. So if you're not learning how to use it, you're voluntarily competing with one hand tied behind your back right now, okay? So you ask, I'm talking to the people who don't use it, and maybe those of you who do and maybe are underutilizing. I think all of us could be probably are not using it to the fullest extent. What can you actually use it for? Okay? Well, a lot of things. Like, you want to write a professional email. AI can help with that, okay? Do you need to respond to a difficult customer complaint in writing? AI can help you write a thoughtful response, okay? Do you need ideas for social media? Content creation, better job descriptions, better proposals, employee handbooks, training manuals, standard operating procedures, scripts, website content, blog articles, phone scripts, interview questions for jobs, even job descriptions, marketing ideas, business plans. All of these things you can use, say, ChatGPT or any other artificial intelligence tools for that, okay? It can summarize books in a matter of minutes, analyze spreadsheets, brainstorm solutions to problems, help you prepare for meetings, rewrite documents so they can sound more professional. Everything you can think of, okay? Even role-playing difficult customer conversations, practicing your sales skills before you ever walk into someone's home. Now, here's what I love the most. It levels the playing field. For years, the biggest companies had these big marketing departments, copywriters and graphic designers and business consultants, administration staff. Now one person running a business can access tools that simply didn't exist a few years ago. That's very exciting to me, especially for small business people. Now, I want to add an important caution. I alluded to this already. Don't let it replace your thinking. Let it improve your thinking. Okay? There's a huge difference between those two things. Don't blindly copy and paste everything it gives you. Challenge it. Argue with it. Fight back. Ask better questions. Push it hard. Okay? Utilize it to the max. Edit the answers. Add your own experience. Listen, your customers aren't hiring ChatGPT. They're hiring you. AI should make your voice stronger. It shouldn't replace your voice altogether. So at the end of the day, listen, relationships are still what wins. Integrity, hard work, keeping your promises, those things still win. AI tools will simply help you do those things more effectively and more efficiently. So if you've been putting off because it's intimidating, here's my challenge. Spend 30 minutes this week learning how to use it. Listen, if you're not sure how to use it, ask it. How can I use it? Tell it about your business. Say, this is what I'm doing. I need help with this. I need help with that. And then just start expanding on that. It'll blow you away, okay? Have fun with it. You'll be amazed how quickly it becomes one of the most valuable tools in your business, okay? And who knows, maybe one day you'll even use it to write a podcast introduction that's about 3 times longer than you originally planned. Which seems to have been what has happened here. Now, let's get into today's episode. Before I do that, I just want to remind you about my YouTube channel. It is linked on my Instagram bio, but you can get to it. Just look up Contractor Growth Guy on YouTube, and there's some good long-form content on there. Things that I can't put in Reels because it's too long, and it messes with the algorithm if you make Reels that are too long and people don't watch them typically, but this provides some good answers to good questions, stuff that's not on the podcast, stuff that's not in my training, questions I get asked from time to time where I will answer them in that format. So check that out. Have a look at that. It's a great resource, and it's growing every week. I add more content to it. Now, let's get into communication, okay? I'm a little long here in the introduction, so I want to move through this and give you something actionable. Principle number 1 is this. I want you to get this. Homeowners are subconsciously always asking 3 questions, okay? One of the biggest mistakes contractors make is believing that homeowners evaluate us the same way that we evaluate ourselves. We think customers are impressed with 20 years of experience. Now, I'm not saying that's not important, but it's not as important maybe as we think. They don't care about the tools we own, all the certification plaques on your wall, the products we install nearly as much as we do. They matter, but they are not the first things that people notice, okay? Long before a homeowner can judge the quality of your workmanship, they're judging whether they feel that they can trust you, okay? So every customer is silently, without even realizing it, they are asking 3 questions. Now, the first question is this: can I trust this person? Okay? And can I say this? Trust isn't built by saying you're trustworthy. It's built through hundreds of little moments and interactions, okay? Did you answer your phone? Did you call back when you said you would? Did you arrive when you promised? Did you tell the truth when you didn't have an answer? Every interaction either adds another brick to the wall of trust or it removes one. There's no neutrality here, okay? So that's question number 1. Can I trust you? The second question they're asking, this one people don't realize, are you organized? Customers don't separate communication from workmanship. If your communication feels scattered, your systems seem all out of whack and non-functional, they naturally assume that your projects might be too. And, do I want this guy being the furnace installer? Because if he's disorganized, he's going to forget to connect certain things, and it's going to cause problems. I don't know, right? So this is important. If they have to chase you for updates, or if appointment times constantly change, or if you forget conversations, if you send estimates days later than promised, they begin to wonder what the actual process of getting the work done, the project done, is going to look like. On the other hand, when everything feels very intentional and organized, people relax, okay? They feel like they're in good hands. Now, the third question they're asking is this: will you do, and this goes back to trust, really, will you do what you promised? That question follows you from the first phone call until the day you collect the final payment. And if you say, I'll send the estimate tomorrow, send it tomorrow or sooner. If you're running late, tell them before. They're standing at the window, looking at their watch, wondering where you are. Look, if something unexpected happens, address it immediately. Reliability has become surprisingly rare, which means it's incredibly valuable. Okay, here's what I want you to remember. Customers begin deciding whether they trust you long before you ever pick up a hammer. Okay, communication is never just communication. Every conversation is answering those 3 questions. Now, principle 2 goes along with that, and it's this: that communication starts before you ever meet in person. A lot of contractors have this mistaken idea that communication in the process starts when they pull into the customer's driveway for the estimate. It does not. It starts the moment someone hears your company name, okay? A neighbor recommends you, someone finds you on Google, maybe they've seen one of your videos or some of your social media content. Before they ever call you, they are already forming opinions about you. Okay, they look at your reviews, they visit your website, they check out your social media pages. They're asking themselves, does this look like someone I would trust with my home or my car? Okay, then they call. Now, what happens next matters more than most contractors realize. Did they get voicemail? If they do, it's okay if they do, only when necessary, mind you, but does that voicemail sound professional, or does it sound like a guy who can barely do more than grunt, okay? Does it sound clear and professional, or Is it or is it the default message from the phone provider still? Okay. How quickly do you return the call? When you answer, do you sound interested in helping them, or do you sound like, you know, they just interrupted you from your nap? Okay. Even your scheduling process communicates something. When someone books an estimate, do they know exactly when you'll arrive? You know, don't be like the cable company and say I'll be there between 12 and, 1 and 5 or 9 and noon. Okay, don't do that. Exact time and then be on time. Do they receive confirmation of the appointment? Do they know what to expect? Listen, organization creates confidence. Confusion creates tremendous anxiety. By the time you're sitting at their kitchen table discussing the renovation, you've already been communicating with them for days or weeks or months. Okay? The estimate appointment is not the beginning of communication, it's the continuation of it. Now, principle number 3 is that speed matters. One of the easiest ways to improve your customer experience is simply to communicate faster. Now, let me clarify what I mean. I'm not saying you need to answer every phone call while you're standing on a roof, running a nailer. Okay? I'm not saying you should stop in the middle of a family dinner every time your phone buzzes. That's not realistic and it's not healthy. Okay? But your customers shouldn't have to wonder whether you've disappeared. Here's something I've learned over the years. Customers are usually much more patient than contractors think. They will wait for an estimate. They'll understand. They'll wait for materials. They'll wait through bad weather. What they struggle with isn't the waiting part, okay? Maybe a little bit. But what usually is the problem, more than the waiting, it's the uncertainty. It's the silence, okay? When customers don't hear from you, they start filling in the blanks. Maybe he forgot about us. Maybe he's busy with a more important job. Maybe she's just avoiding my calls. Maybe I've been too high maintenance. Maybe they don't want to work anymore. Maybe they've gone on a bender. Whatever the reason might be, okay? None of those things are true necessarily, but people naturally try to explain silence. And that's why a 30-second message can prevent days of frustration. Hey, I got your message. I'm still waiting on pricing. I'll call you tomorrow afternoon. That's it, okay? Those tiny updates replace uncertainty with confidence. Remember this. Fast communication isn't about being available 24 hours a day. It's about making sure your customers never feel ignored, okay? Now, principle number 4, never make customers wonder. If I could convince every contractor to adopt one communication habit, this would probably be it. Never make your customers wonder. It goes along with the previous point, okay? Wondering creates anxiety, and anxiety erodes trust. Now, think about homeowners, what they're thinking during a renovation. Are they coming today? Did they order the materials? Did they forget about us? Is something wrong? Did somebody call in sick? Should I call them? Listen, every one of those questions exists because of a communication gap. Professional contractors close those gaps before customers ever have to ask. If you're running late, tell them before they're wondering where you are. Okay. If weather changes the schedule, let them know immediately. If materials are delayed, explain what's happening, what the new plan is. If you're leaving for a few days, tell them before they start worrying. Customers don't expect perfection, but they do expect, and they have every right to, good communication. One of the greatest compliments you can ever receive is not, hey, wow, you've built a beautiful addition. It's, we always knew what was happening. You always kept us in the loop. That tells me they felt informed, they felt respected, they felt taken care of. And that's an experience they'll remember long after they've forgotten how many days the project actually took. Now, principle number 5, again, these all flow into one another. I think you're getting the idea. The very best contractors don't wait for customers to ask questions. Okay, give updates before they're requested. Answer the questions before they're ever asked. Anticipate. Listen, you're the professional. You know a lot of the things your customers are going to be asking and worried about. Stay ahead of it. Be proactive. Don't be reactive in your communication. Reactive contractors spend their whole day answering phone calls and putting out fires. Proactive contractors get ahead of those. They prevent those phone calls. Imagine receiving a text that says, good morning, we'll be there around 8 o'clock. Or, we finished framing today, tomorrow we'll begin installing the windows. Or, hey, by the way, we've uncovered something behind the wall, it's completely fixable. I just wanted to let you know before we talk through the options this afternoon. Those messages take seconds to write and send, okay? but they dramatically change the customer's experience. So now, instead of wondering, they feel informed. Instead of feeling forgotten, they feel taken care of. Okay, here's a habit I'd encourage every contractor to develop. At the end of the workday, ask yourself one question. If I were a homeowner, what would I want to know before tonight? Okay, then send that update. That's it. A text, phone call, an email, voicemail, whatever. You'll prevent misunderstandings. You'll reduce customer anxiety. You'll eliminate unnecessary phone calls, and you'll build trust every single day. By the way, shameless plug here for my Contractor Authority training, okay? Contractor Authority training, I just did a whole training module on communication. It's much more, obviously, I've just done that in about 10 minutes, right? I think the training's a couple hours spread out over 9, 10, 12 videos, whatever. It is a powerful, powerful training module. And right now, if you're listening to this and this podcast episode is fresh, this is the summer of 2026, I actually have 13 training modules on Contractor Authority. You can get there. It's linked on my Instagram page. You can go to skool.com, skool.com, and just look up Contractor Authority, okay, and you'll find it there. It's a monthly fee. We charge monthly for it. Whatever price you lock into is the price that you have in perpetuity, okay? So the price continues to go up as more modules are added, okay? So whatever price it is today, that's the price that you will pay and get all the present modules, training modules, and all future modules are included in that price. It will never be upcharged. Now, if you quit and come back, you'll sign in at the new price, and that will be your price, okay? So it is, the feedback has been phenomenal on Contractor Authority. It is tremendous value. I know I'm biased, but I'm going to tell you, you will find it's tremendous value. So now, as we wrap up today's episode, I want to leave you with a final thought. If I had $1 for every time I had a contractor say they need more leads, I just need more leads. My phone would ring more. I'd be busy. I need better marketing, maybe. But I kind of alluded to this earlier. This goes back to communication and just a little bit of venting. Some of you finally get that lead you've been praying for, and then you answer the phone like the customer just interrupted the greatest nap in human history. Like, yeah, hello. Hey, look, you've spent the last 6 months complaining that nobody's calling. Then somebody finally does, and you sound annoyed that they had the nerve to phone you. Or better yet, you return the call 3 days later and say, sorry, I've been busy. Busy doing what? Ignoring the very opportunity you've been asking for? Imagine walking to a restaurant and the server walks up and says, yeah, what do you want? Like, you'd probably turn around and leave. Yet some contractors answer the phone exactly like that. So figure out I call contractors, and I'm blown away by some of the responses I get when I do. Now, the phone ringing is not an interruption to your business. The phone ringing is your business. And I know I'm preaching to the choir. A lot of you know better. You're probably wondering, why is he saying this? Like, this doesn't apply to me at all. Well, some of you it does, okay? And so take this as a loving reminder and encouragement. Listen, every phone call is an opportunity to make someone feel confident that they called the right contractor, or make them wonder if they should keep moving down the list, okay? And you don't need a polished radio voice. You don't need to sound like a salesperson. Just sound like you are genuinely glad that they called, because they did, and you are glad. Okay, whether you think you're glad they called. So if you've been praying for more opportunities, don't ever treat them like they're inconveniences. And it's shocking to me how that plays out in the real world. So this is my challenge for you this week. Pay attention to every interaction with a customer, every phone call, text, or email, every conversation. Then ask yourself one simple question. Did that interaction serve to increase trust or to decrease it. If you start filtering every customer interaction through that one question, I honestly believe it will change the way you communicate forever. And when you change the way you communicate, you'll change the way people experience your business. So, again, thank you so much for listening to Contractor Truth. If you found today's episode helpful, I'd really love it if you'd follow and subscribe, maybe even leave a review. I'm not worried about constructive criticism. Bring it on. I've got broad shoulders, and I also like the feedback, right? And please, please, please share it with other contractors and small business people who could benefit from it. So until next time, keep telling the truth, keep building trust, keep growing that business. Thank you very much for listening, and I will see you in the next episode. God bless.